of an Age. I watched this because I heard some people talking about it, saying really, really sweet, really kind of like under the radar, but really, really solid. And while I'd say I do think as of now, mid-March, I do think it's probably one of the best films I've seen of 2023. It's directed by a guy called Goran Stolevski, who last year directed You Won't Be Alone, which I did not watch. I know I should have, because I'm a really big, obviously really big horror fan, and I heard that this was a really solid film, even though it's meant to be really hard to watch. I heard it was really good. I just never managed to catch up with it, so I actually went to my local art house theater, the NoHo Lamley, went to go watch Of an Age. The film is set in Australia, in Melbourne, and it's set in the summer of 1999, where this guy is going to a dance recital. Him and his dancing partner were meant to go on like the church or the gym or something and do this big dance show. But because the girl just finds herself like drunk after a night out, just on a beach somewhere where she doesn't know where she is, he has to call her brother, and they drive down to go pick her up together, and end up missing the thing. But throughout this, main character, who is Cole, spelt K-O-L, Cole, finds out that Adam, who is the brother, is gay through just very casual conversation. This film is mostly conversation. There's not really much action in it. It's really just pretty much just these two characters talking for about like 80% of the film, I'd say. And it's about these two guys who are clearly very interested in each other, are very romantically, or if not like lustfully interested in each other, when the character Adam slips it out that he's had boyfriends in the past. This puts Cole, he gets incredibly defensive straight away. He just kind of starts being very, very like macho, very bro-y. He does not want to accept the part of himself that is gay. And the movie pretty obviously states that that's because of just his the culture that he is in, and the culture that he grew up in, is that his family just would not accept it. He is a part of a bunch of very like a family full of very like macho, very masculine men that see gayness as weakness, as bad. And this is in 1999 Australia, so it makes sense for the timeline. And then the film does do something interesting where just after that they do have some connection after that, and then it jumps ahead to modern day. So it jumps ahead about like 25-ish years after that. And then you see these two characters as adults and how their life has changed, and how people have changed, and what their connection is now, which I don't really want to go into because that feels a bit cheap. That feels like a bit too spoilery for my taste. So the film itself, I think, is really well done. It's a very quiet film. First of all, as I said before, it's very conversational. There isn't a lot of action that goes on. There aren't a lot of big set pieces. It's very much just about people talking and how the slow relationship builds between people, how a connection builds between people. If that's a romantic connection or a lustful connection, it doesn't really matter. It's more about just how two human beings who are romantically interested in each other but don't really want to outright say it without saying those particular words, how through language, through physical language, through the way that they move, the way that they touch each other, the way that they touch things, the way that they look at each other, the way that they look at themselves, the way they don't look at each other, what they say between the lines. This film exists within that minutia. And the filmmaker does a really, really good job of displaying that very subtleness when it comes to flirtation, especially like closeted flirtation in a way. And I think he does a very good job of making that making that obvious. And I think that's the film's biggest strength. It's shot really well. Like, it's a very pretty looking film. The cinematographer's name is let me pull it up because I do think he deserves a bit of a shout out. Cinematographer's name is Matthew Chung. Matthew Chung, who also was the cinematographer for You Won't Be Alone. Great. Yeah, it's a really great looking film. The cinematography, I think, helps a lot with the language of what the film is trying to go for and what it's trying to look at. I haven't spoken about the actors yet, which I should, because I think they also are a very important part of why this film works at all. Their performances, without their performances working, this film would not work, because the film is mostly just the two of them together just talking. And as I said, it doesn't spell out what they're thinking. It's done all through subtleties, and if their performances weren't up to the par, then the subtleties would not have been there. So yeah, I did really enjoy the film. I think it's really worth watching. It is one of the best films I've seen this year. I don't think it's perfect. I think it feels kind of slight, and if anything, you have seen gay cinema tread these grounds before, which is fine, because, you know, how many straight romance films do we get? How many straight rom-coms do we get every year? So it's like, I don't really care that they're trying something that they've already done again and just trying to hone that story to be as good as it possibly can be, because this is a really well told version of that story. It's why Love, Simon was so revolutionary in its blandness. It's the fact that we have got to the point where we can just make a by the numbers, very straight down the line 6 out of 10 rom-com that just happens to have a gay protagonist. The fact that is allowed to happen is exciting in and of itself. So I can't really fault this film for having told a story that's kind of similar to others before, because I don't think there's been enough of those films to really be mad about it. So I'd say I'd give it a 7. Good film, solid film, one of the best of the year. Really liked it.